signs for mum's deterioration. It started quite early, or indications was back in 2019 when I was taken her to the hospital for an operation where she was struggling to get in and out of the car, I asked her the question, what was up, and she said she just didn't feel right, but she was going to leave it until after the operation because at that time it was a case of actually the doctors. Her thought was that get one thing done at a time, so get treatment, get her hands seemed to be a priority because that was where she was struggling with just the day-to-day stuff and handling and everything like that. But that was my first time when I actually thought there's an addition. And she's gone to the doctors, but they were basically not giving her, I don't want to call it fobbing off or anything like that. It was just the diagnosis didn't match with regards to what she was feeling. But it was difficult at that time because I was at work and mums being mums, she just turned around and said, well, if that's what they say, then I'll just plod on. And she was dealing with because she still had the eye operation that she had, so she was dealing with that and the hand operation at that time. So she seems to have, well, it must be right, and leave it at that. And I think it's after I come back from New York, because I went away for a couple of weeks with the family, and that's when, it was struggle.
Because listening to what Ben says, through the months I haven't been down because I live in Birmingham, so I go down to Mum's every so often. But when we meet over the Skype for the meetings every Sabbath, and every time she comes, she goes, "Oh, I'm a bit late today because it took me so long to get ready," and through the months she kept saying, "Oh, it taking me longer." So she either missed breakfast so she can get ready for the meeting, or she will get ready upstairs and then stays upstairs, and it's been taken out. I got a bit concerned about that, and I says, "Well, why is she taking so long?" And so I looked at it, and as we say, we looked through and decided, got to find out what's going on. She says she's been to the doctors, and they says, "Oh, she was taking this medication," and they says, "Just continue with it." She says, "Well, I don't feel right taking it." So she continued to take this medication, and from then she kept saying, "It's not right, she don't feel good." And they just keep taking no notice. She actually been to the doctor on and off, and she rings up and she either don't get the doctor, or so it's the matter of.
Yeah, it's the changes, because with the GP, we've got at our local GP there is several doctors, but every time she phoned up she would get a different one, which means explaining the whole thing process again. But as a practice, they were concerned, and then when we managed to get an actual consultant, when they actually was able to achieve and get a consultant, it was a telephone consultation, which is one of the reasons why we turn around and say, "Oh, this is not good. How can you diagnose someone with what we was concerned about over a telephone?" And the consultant looked at her notes, looked at the items of what was being recorded by the GP, and then recommended that, and this is what I was saying about the appointment for actually physically seeing her was then going to be another 3 to 4 months. before they can actually physically see her, and then between now and then was to actually then just continue with regards to the medication and trying to keep active as part of the process. What happened when we went to the actual private hospital was the consultant that Mum saw was actually the boss of the consultant who was at the NHS. So both of them do private work, and on seeing her immediately, he then turned around and said, accelerate the appointment to meet and see her. So he basically said, right, go back to him. I'm going to write to him and give him a call as well and say this appointment needs to be brought forward ASP.
So at this point, did anybody know what was actually wrong with your mum?
No, there wasn't. We didn't know exactly what was happening, because within weeks, it's within 3 weeks of me seeing Mum to going back down, she deteriorated so much. She couldn't go up the stairs, she couldn't move. She had to get a wheelchair to take her from bathroom to bedroom, and that's how quickly, within a few weeks. And so we didn't know really what it was, not at all. It was very scary. I was really worried. I was ready to give up my job in Birmingham to go down. I was looking for a house to go down. That's how scary it was.
And the thing about it is that I felt helpless. Not felt, I know I was helpless. I didn't know what to do. Was there any, go to the chemist and get more things? All it was is the encouragement of trying to see if we can get medical help to actually just see what it was. Take her into hospital initially. So it was got a call that the doctor, they say take her in ASP. So I drove back from work, and I think you'd already been.
I was on my way down to Itchin that day, because we'd planned for my weekend down there, and I was on my way down to see her when you got the call to say take her in. So I was rushing down, so we got down there.
We had to go through the whole process of getting admitted. So we had to go to emergency. At emergency, they had to do triage. Then on completion of the triage, they would turn around and say, yes, she needs to go and see a specialist. We then went to another ward, we waited there. They then saw a junior doctor who went through loads and loads of checks and tests on everything, from her standing up, what her strength and everything like that. They asked, she said, well, would you be, can you go and lay on the bed so that, and she says, I can't even get up to do that. He said, no problem, we'll try and do the best we can with the tests from where she's sitting in a wheelchair. And then after that, they turned around and said, yes, this is serious, but they still didn't know what it was, other than he got a load of, I'll call it data, but it's a load of information of what she cannot do, what she can do, and weaknesses and stuff like that, all logged. And then they turned around and said, right, we're going to admit her. It was lost. It was one of them where you're walking out and you're saying, with regards to everything that's been happening worldwide and everything, is she going to go in and she could be coming out? Because from now on, no one's going to actually see her. But even after, so that would have been the night, so the next morning when they started the consultants and everything, they basically was going down like, it was a process actually of elimination. Try this, no it's not that, try this. And was working, and being that it's a teaching hospital, they had more resources than where you'd have in the standard hospital. So from that point of view, it was God saying that she was sent there. in that the resources and the things that was made available was that they would keep going until they came up with some sort of diagnosis.
I was feeling I was worried, but one day I says to Judith, I says, right, I know what we're going to do. We're going to pray. And I says, right, 9 o'clock every night. We used to get in touch with Mama. We used to text her and everything. But I says, 9 o'clock every night, we're going to pray. We're going to pray for her. And we prayed. Because we didn't know whether, and every time I get in touch, she was relating less and less. Because she used to text good night, and everybody, we'd have a family WhatsApp, and everybody used to good night grandma, good night nan, but gradually she was responding. She wasn't responding. But I was praying, we were praying together. And we says, right, 9 o'clock every night, we prayed.
Even though it was, in my mind, I was thinking, right, yeah, she's gonna come out. Being that her dad had gone in, and I saw the dad go in, I didn't think that she would come out.
Yes.
But
she came out.